Anything is possible. New freezer, it's a lot of them.
Yo,
What's up, man?
dude, don't
We
try
did
to,
it.
Don't try to do some technology stuff with me, dude.
Dude, you're the tech wizard with
No.
LinkedIn Live, man.
Nope. Look at me. I'm even still gonna try to figure out how do I get some color in here, dude.
I love it. How you doing, man? Happy Friday.
You too, man. What's going on?
Not too much. Thank you for making some time. I appreciate it. Just
Yes, sir.
for everyone who's watching, guys, we have Mark Samuel. He is the founder and CEO of Iwon Organics. Rockstar founder. Really excited to have you today. Amazing brand and company and story, but thank you again for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Dude, of course. I feel like we know each other, even though we haven't had a chance to really chat, but I'm excited to dive in.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Let's start high level. Mark, tell me a little bit about, yourself, where you grew up, and how you made it into this wild world of CPG and food and beverage.
I'm in the Bay Area. I'm in a county called Marin, which is over the Golden Gate Bridge, on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. And so Iwon Organics started a few years ago. I found myself in food and beverage. The last few ventures that I started were in health and fitness. I'm a big fitness enthusiast, big 6-day-a-week gym goer, or garage now. But and so it's just one of those things. I wanted to get into something that had, I'd say, a different financial metric to it. Was that something that I was looking at, and staying in health and fitness just made the most sense for me, and that's where I found myself. So that's where we're at now.
So, I was reading a little bit about you and just your background. You are a serial entrepreneur by trade. I'd love to hear, is that just something that growing up, you've always been somebody building businesses, been very entrepreneurial, or was there a time where you spent, you were in corporate America or, elsewhere, and how did you kind of transition to building companies?
Yeah. I mean, is that that's what they call it these days? That whole thing where people call themselves like a serial something.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of laugh, chuckle at stuff like that. I don't know what I am, man. It even made me feel funny yesterday. I was looking at my bio. I don't even remember where I wrote it or whatever on LinkedIn. The word entrepreneur is kind of still funny to me. Whatever. It's just my own thing. And then that when people go on about being a serial entrepreneur, I don't know. I start my own companies. That's kind of what it is. And that's what they term it, entrepreneurial. So as far as doing my own thing, it's been since I'd say when I'm coming on 17, 18 years. Before that, I had done a couple things as far as working for another company. It's not even on my resume. In the space that I had started the first company with, which was in real estate finance. Both of them were fairly short-lived. I really just absorbed what the business was about, and knew that I was going to do my own thing. So both of those opportunities were amazing. They were both really successful as far as monetary, just to be frank. But the real thing was just learning a particular business, learning how it was operated, learning the insides, and then going out and doing it on my own. And I've been doing my own thing ever since, but in different verticals.
Totally. And, I saw there was, the accessories business, Six Pack there, you've had a retail store that you opened previously, you're in finance, would you say along that journey coming up to Iwon, do you think that you're naturally just really gifted at sales, or a particular skill set that helped you succeed in each of those different spaces, that then, this was really the most aligned with everything that you're passionate about and that you truly love doing?
Me and gifted. That's a good one, dude. You get extra snacks sent for you on that one. I don't know if I'm gifted at anything, dude. I know that I'm cut a certain way, probably, that most would probably find themselves or be aware of at some point along a journey, right? And recognize sort of their strengths. And then at the same time, as you grow a little bit and you get a little further along that journey, I would call it maturity, at least for me. You recognize the things that you just suck at. And then just try to fill those voids in the businesses that you're operating. So I would say that I'm a salesperson first, and I often talk about that, and that is very helpful. I have friends in all types of businesses, and we kind of all agree with that sentiment. That's a really great thing to have in your back pocket, in your arsenal, because of course, no matter what it is that you're doing, if you're operating a business, it's a service or a product related, you need to be selling. And so I'd say that that's just a really strong asset to have. And if you have one and you have an entrepreneurial spirit, then you at least have a leg up as far as getting a business started.
Yeah, and I think I find it really interesting. You have a lot of people going in the food and beverage space, right? And oftentimes, the founder comes from, for me personally, I used to be an investment banker. So coming from a finance background, a lot of pros, a lot of cons, the way that you would analyze a business from a helicopter view versus actually building one and operating one, that's probably been one of my larger challenges. So what have you done? It sounds like you've done an amazing job on the sales front. What are some of your weaknesses? How have you been able to kind of block that out, identify it, and hire to take Iwon to where it is today?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like if we were like you and I would be great partners, right? Who knows? Maybe we'll do something down the line.
Let's do it.
I would say that on the number side, I'm fairly good with numbers. And I was good at math in school or whatever it may be, and you get it where the numbers can flow in your mind about something, and you can piece things together fairly easy. As far as the accounting side and really drilling down, I think there's an approach as far as whether you're conservative or not. And I think most salespeople are fairly aggressive. And that's not a really good thing when it comes to operating a business. And that's why having some sort of accounting and some conservative pieces to your puzzle are super important. So bringing on, like for us, for instance, that was our fifth team member and our most recent one, which was a controller. And I was more or as excited about that piece than anything because in our business, it is a penny business. And you need to be able to drill down into the numbers. And again, for someone who's cut like me, I'm aggressive. Like I would love to spend. I like to spend. And you sort of do lose focus a little bit on the finance side. And that's why, again, it's important to find the weaknesses and fill those voids in.
No question. So can we dive in back to like the early days of Iwon? Like when did you say, I'm going to start this thing? Obviously you're a big fitness enthusiast. So creating better for you, clean alternatives post-workout or during a workout or even for your daily, your day is important. But where did that spark happen? And when did you say, I'm all in, let's go do this? 2015
I still had a bag company called Fitmark. And I knew that that business was going to, or at least I felt as though the business was going to peak or had peaked, and it was going to be a very, very tough road. And it was time to start thinking about other opportunities. So I had looked again around at the food and beverage space. I wanted it to be a health and wellness platform, which is really what I describe us as. And savory snacks with what would be a higher protein level was something that I thought there was a void in. It just so happens that Quest, who most would know, hadn't yet come out with what they did later, which was a protein chip. And so in my early stages, we had thought of a protein chip. I thought it would be a great entry into market. And by early 16, maybe late 15, early 16, they had launched. And it was kind of one of those periods of, are we late to the game or should we press the gas? It was the latter because if anybody can go pull up the information about the Quest launch at the time, there wasn't a lot of fanfare over the original iteration of the protein chip. So if anything, it actually probably encouraged me to keep going. And that's really what got us out the gate.
What salty snacks were you eating before Quest or Iwon?
I probably wasn't eating many, and that's where it came from. I probably was a bar guy. I'm not anymore. Any type of bar that was healthier or better for you. I'm big on and always have been on balanced nutrition. It's the core principles of Iwon, being proteins, fats, carbohydrates in our snacks and in the foods we eat. So with that said, I was probably more just eating real foods at the time to be able to give myself, those nutritional values.
Got it. I actually recently was lucky enough to connect with Nick Desai from Pitos, who told me a crazy fact about Frito-Lay and how they literally are a monopoly. I mean, they own like 70-something% of salty snacks. So we're in one of the most competitive categories, right? From a margin perspective, and also just from the 80-pound gorilla. How have you been able to? I mean, 2015. That's these businesses take time. Like 5,000 plus doors. Like you guys are doing an amazing job. What has been your X factor for getting such amazing growth? But also something I love that you're doing is you're not just spending a lot of money irresponsibly. You're building a profitable business. So how do you do that so quickly in such a challenging space?
I got an interesting comment on that. Probably ready?
Yep.
Look at that little color with me, dude. Give me some color, man.
Dude, you go.
Give me a tan, dude. So I got an interesting comment. It's competitive. You're in a competitive space. We're all in a competitive space. Who cares? I mean, that's just, first off, if you're going to start a company, you have to have a competitive piece to your puzzle, right? You have to be willing to go out into the field, right? Strap up, put the helmet on. I really don't like these analogies, but sometimes it just comes out like that.
It's all right.
It's just, and be willing to go to war. And it's not for a week and a month and a year. It's forever.
Yep.
It's setting yourself up and preparing yourself for war forever, all the time. And I love that. I'm okay with that. And where that comes to your original question about a Frito-Lay's, I'll say something really crazy.
Do it.
I like Frito-Lay's.
Okay.
My goal is that I work with Frito-Lay's at some point. Maybe I'll be the CEO of Frito-Lay's one day.
Heard it here first. I don't think
care.
They should hire you. They should hire
me. I say that with all due respect too. The reality is the legacy brands in every single category are there as a platform. I'm not going to push that away. That's my you think that they're going to go, are they going away? No, they're not going away.
No.
They have market share because they're a long-standing, reputable brand that has market share and consumers that want their products, right? I want to be able to get into that building and talk to them and bring them all of my stuff, right? I want to bring them my juju and talk in reality and say, you need some better for you products, right? You think anybody sitting at that boardroom is going to be saying, "Oh no, we don't. No, we don't." You think the brand manager for Frosted Flakes is saying, "We know
we're good.
These are amazing.
We're good.
We're good. These are amazing." I give my kids these. No, but I want to tell you something that people often forget. Tony the Tiger, dude, that dude's awesome. Tony the Tiger makes you feel good.
Yes.
He brings you joy. I have 2 kids. I don't have Frosted Flakes in my house. But the reality is, we as parents, we want to give our kids joy and happiness. And if that comes in the frame of Tony the Tiger for, once a week, we do it. Now, with that said, the point being, I can get in that room and talk reality about balanced nutrition and why it's so key for Americans worldwide, but we can talk domestically.
Yes.
For us to get on the same page about why real foods, balanced nutrition is so important and such a key principle for having long-term sustainable success with eating habits. And if I can get in there and use their platform and, their money, right?
Distribution relationships, manufacturing capability, everything, the infrastructure. Yes.
So
yes.
Again, that's my take. I know long form, but I could go on.
No,
I could fire on
Mark,
for days for that.
It's awesome. And I share a lot of the same thesis with you and I think some of the most successful food and beverage companies, they realize this. Yes, you can go one route and create a new category and educate a customer and try and re-educate all Americans, the globe, on what you're building. Or you can take what the world's been conditioned to love and you can re-engineer it, make it truly better for you, and then bring that soul and that magic that used to exist in those brands and bring it back through the new technologies and resources that we have that we're building upon nowadays. And I think that's sometimes that magic, that soul that Iwon has, that other brands have, can't be built in a hub or an incubator within a Fortune 500 company because it lacks the leader like yourself to build it every single day for 5 to 10 years.
They have the leadership. There's no doubt about that, right? There are people, there are men and women in that room who would school us, right? And I say that with all respect in the world. However, it is very different, and you can attest to this too, being a founder and having a different reason, a different feel, a different vibe, a different purpose, a different mission, a different why to bring into that table, to bring to that room, to bring to those people. And that's where leadership does change a bit. I often look at CPG just on a whole, and you can recognize the brands that have professional CEOs versus the original founder. It's just how it is. It's why, it's why I'll say this, it's why often brands don't do, not all the time, often don't do very well after they're acquired. You think that there's some weird coincidence? It's like nobody talks about it, right? All of a sudden it gets acquired and it starts declining because there's no drive. There's nobody with the muscle.
The soul has been pulled. Yep.
Straight up, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, again, another topic that I could go for days on that one. But so.
Okay, so look, I love this. I guess I'd love to double down real quick. And when you went into this, your why. Can you just repeat kind of why you wake up every day and you're dedicated and committed to building Iwon? And what is Iwon 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
So winning on nutrition is what this health and wellness platform is. We talk about oftentimes people don't feel like they're winning when it comes to food. That's just reality. It's why there's so many diets that get thrown out there besides just the muscle, the money and the muscle being thrown behind them. And I don't need to call them out because, again, I respect everybody in their business and what they're trying to do for whatever reason, right? But you don't hear me talk about, low to no carbs and all that stuff, right? All that craziness.
Yeah.
Talk about just eat real foods and balance nutrition and get good habits forming. So that, again, it's in our case, it's to help people understand what is good and what isn't, and when they should be eating indulgences and when they shouldn't, because I'm a big fan of that too. Call it an 85-15 rule, which is, eat well most of the time, but definitely indulge sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So the platform starts there. It's just about winning on nutrition and helping consumers make better choices. But as you can see in the stuff that I like to often talk about, and I'm using the platform like LinkedIn right now to get a message out there, which is just keep positivity out there. Winning and the idea of winning, we can all think back to all the good days as kids, right? Whether in sports, could be academically, it could be just a feel-good moment. Winning has an impactful purpose for everybody in life. So that's why I call it a health and wellness platform, because the idea is that if we can, of course, have a platform that's around food and move it around to different areas of the grocery store, which gets back to where do we want to be? We want to be in different sets of the grocery store and really take that over so that anytime someone is purchasing our products and having them in their cabinets in their home, they feel good about it in all ways, right? All
Yes.
ways and in all ways. And
Yes.
that's the big impactful piece that a brand would love to have, you know, opening up the cabinet and seeing your brand there, and they get an emotion to it. And in our case, if it's a positive one and a feel-good one, that is good for us and good for everybody, which again is the whole piece to, you know, the piece that we're trying to put out there. So,
And so as you do that, where would you like to see Iwon 5 years from now? Like where does this company, do you want to be as big as, you know, the largest a portfolio company of Frito? Do you want to build your own umbrella of brands and launch other products underneath that platform?
no, we want to be, and we have plans to be in different areas of the grocery store.
Cool.
And, you know, all under Iwon, all with the same purpose and mission: real foods, balanced nutrition options, again, to fill the need of the consumer who's looking for balanced nutrition and looking for something that's going to provide them a foundation to just eating better, eating healthier. Again, all organic certified ingredients and the like, and then just having an emotional feel and impactful feel from the brand. How big that is, I don't know, right? You know, you and I could talk revenue numbers and all that, but you know, I often say, who cares? Like, as long as we're around and have a humming, successful, and I mean successful as in profitable business that's doing right on behalf of our team, who's working their ass off all the time, but it's providing what is our big why, which is giving consumers an amazing choice, then it doesn't matter really what the numbers are, so long that, again, we're filling all of those things. And I think that that's a really great, you know, a great business to have if you can put all those pieces together.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I think that that's a great segue into, you know, you've used tools like LinkedIn, other social tools. You know, I've seen you on Reels, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. What advice would you have for someone, of any founder? A lot of people want to build food and beverage brands. What's your advice to actually build a successful business and actually have a real shot in such a hyper competitive landscape?
Go find yourself a rich uncle.
There you go.
Is that not? That's not it. That's not the answer these days. I thought we were keeping it real on this show. You need money. You need money in this business, and
Yep.
I talk openly about that. I always caveat by saying that you can do it the other way. It's very difficult and it's very, very slow. And slow in anybody's business is not a fun thing to talk about, and it's not a fun thing to be, you know, a part of. And that is growing brick by brick. You can go to your local farmer's market with a product that you love, you know, all the things we talked about, a reason why, what's it for, who's it for, because remember, this isn't about we, this is about you. So I got to start there, right? Who's it for? And go that way. You buy it for $1, sell it for $2, and do that over and over and over again. And when you have enough cash in the bank, you just maybe, you know, made $2,000-$3,000, go to your local grocery store. You know, I forgot, where are you at?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay, so you got a ton. Go to a regional grocery store, the one that maybe you shop at, that they see you at, and ask the manager, can I put these in there? Put them in there. And same thing. You bought it for $1, you're going to sell it for $2, right? And do that. Do that for a month. The most important piece out of that one is, did anybody buy? And the most important piece, even beyond that, did they come back to buy more?
Correct.
Because if you don't have the latter, you don't have a business, period. I'll save everybody the grief now. The other side of the business, if you want to, I'm going one end of the spectrum to the whole other side.
Perfect.
You see it all the
Perfect.
time with the big headlines, the big ones that are far and few between, which people don't understand. it's the smallest minority of what's actually happening in the business. You have access to tons of capital. You went to school at Harvard and you have the alumni list. You have a rich uncle. I could go for days, right? Because
Keep going. I love it. I got it.
You can go put money in the bank and buy your sales. Straight up. You know, the ones that talk about, I'm doing $1 million a month. No shit. How are you doing the $1 million? Tell us. Tell us how you're doing it. No, I mean, I'm
X amount in
froze. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I had a call come in. You have X amount in paid spend. You're hiring this broker, these people, slotting. Like, yeah, you can get to that number really fast if you have the capital. Now, I agree with you. It's not easy to get access to capital like that. And I just feel like there's not enough dialogue. There's so many headlines, Mark. This company raised $15, $23, $55 million. And there's this gap of an understanding between, oh, that must mean CPG is easy. Anyone can do it. Then you have more capital in the system. Then you have less differentiated products. Founders who are delusional. There's a lot of issues here, and I don't think that there's enough conversation around it.
You nailed it. And God, I wish this thing just gave me some light. You have a whole lighting system in there. It's making me feel bad, dude. I'm gonna, as somebody who is fully entrenched with OCD, do you understand what this is doing to me right now?
Dude, I apologize. I'm sending you the lights.
I'm gonna have nightmares about this. Okay, I'm not gonna sleep tonight because I'm thinking about this dumb light. Anyway, you are correct. You can, if you wanted to sell $1 million online today, you can. You can buy the sales. People should understand that. So you have to really look at the headlines and understand, we say with a grain of salt, as they say, right? And understand that there is a story behind there that you don't know. And oftentimes people are going to come to me, and I haven't even started yet telling the story, dude. I'm just getting into this because I want to help, right? I just said it to somebody else, and it's kind of becoming a theme. Like, I'm trying to save somebody from getting 10 grand from their mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 10
grand's a lot to some people.
Of course.
And to lose it sucks. So, yeah. So there's a tough business, and there are two ways to build it. And then there's the middle. And the middle is, you might be able to build sort of regionally and have a little access to capital, right? Maybe you do know somebody who's willing to give you 100 grand. 100 grand's a lot of money, but you can also do a lot with 100 grand to see if you have the beginning stages of something, of those things we talked. And then from there, it's a little bit easier, I think, to maybe get another 100 grand, right? And maybe another 100 grand. And so there is the middle ground.
I totally agree with you. I actually believe in, as you said, like slow tranche raises as you scale and grow. If you can get a small chunk of capital, use that, prove the model, iterate, tweak, and then continue doing that over time. You're just going to be in such a better situation because if and when you do have access to a larger seed or Series A, use that money on what's working. If I had access to the capital that I thought I needed in the early days, I'd be out of business because I would have spent it in the wrong places. And that's another thing, time. A lot of people want quickly to be at $1 million run rate or 3 million run rate, but it takes time to understand how you're going to generate the right kind of revenue, where your channel is, who your customer is, how you're going to tweak your packaging or your formulation or whatever it is to actually scale the business the right way. So time, and then you're right, raising the right kind of money in tranches and phases. So
you nailed it,
dude. I love it. Okay, we'd love to transition a little bit too. So, you know, when you guys went to market, can you talk about some of the strategies that you're using? I mean, dude, I love what you're doing on LinkedIn. Is there anything else that you're doing across social that has been great for building your brand, your presence, and sharing your voice? And maybe you can even talk about LinkedIn, what you're doing every day, because I think more and more people are starting to really tune in to the awesome stuff you're putting out.
You know, I wonder if can I turn this? I guess I can. Can I do that? Does that work? Does that work? Yeah, does that work? Or no?
That's cool. Yeah.
We're doing, I want to plug this in. We're doing, you would see what I'm so rookie, dude, at this. And you see me, I do all these little videos, dude. You think I actually know what I told you. I have no
dude, you're on
clue what
episode 100, man.
I have no clue what I'm doing, dude. None. The only, okay, I got up, worked out, and then I came here and I have no clue what I'm doing. We are doing, you know, we've been lucky. For whatever reason, of course, it's being in market. You know, the longer you're in market, that's another thing people, you know, sort of forget. But the longer you're in market, the better you are, right? The better off you are. It's kind of a forgotten theme. And so we've organically been able to build on things like direct to consumer, like our Amazon business builds month over month, but we're not spending, going back to we're not buying our sales. We actually haven't increased our budget there for like a year. We're just organically building. And then our direct to consumer on our website, we just did a revamp. So next week we relaunch full campaigns because we wanted to dress it up differently as far as what you land on page wise. You totally get it, right? So all these things, you know, DTC is a whole different animal. Like this,
totally different beast.
Totally different. And Phil, you know, like we talked about before, you know, you don't know something, you bring on somebody who does, and they're talking the magic with you, and you're like, oh my God, you know, I didn't know that. And it's like you're just get so pumped about it. So that's another piece of the business that we relaunch, and we should see some really great effects from that. That one we will spend, but we have budgets in place. Whereas for us, we don't want to pay to play to the point of no net, right? We're willing to break even on first acquisition, and that'll be our first test phases. And again, for anybody watching this doesn't understand or why, because we have a high rate as far as those that come back for a second purchase. So because we have that data, we are willing to spend and acquire the customer to bring them in the first route. And then as far as retail and things like that, based off of just making some, you know, sort of noise out there, we've been kind of lucky. One of them, yes, admittingly, is the stuff that I do on LinkedIn. It's gotten some ears ringing, and we've had, you know, some inbound interest, which is really cool. And so I think the whole idea and theme goes back to content and just out. Same what you're doing, dude. Like, you're just go, you know, get it out there.
Dude, it's so important, and not only that, it's about how the kind of content you put out and the reason you're doing it. If you're putting out content like, here's my product, versus let me give you some value. What do you think about this company? Here's an awesome brand that's not my own. Here's something that I really like. Here's a salesperson that has an amazing strategy. If you're putting out value to people, they're going to appreciate you, and then, you know, naturally they may want to do business with you, maybe they don't, but you're not singularly focused, and you know that's another thing I don't know if the big guys are necessarily doing as much. So
agreed. And they don't do it as much. Again, my take on something like that would be they don't do it as much because they really can't. There are, you know, there's a whole other business being operated inside those buildings, right? That have a lot of people and a lot of interest at heart, mainly shareholders.
Yep.
And you can't play around with that. I will say as a caveat, there are some brands though, and some retailers that do get out there and do make magic. Like you follow the CEO of Walmart, for instance. That guy is epic, man.
Yes.
I mean, like he's out there doing the do and like, you know, giving praise to his team and things like that. I love that. And we need more of that. But again, if for one reason or another, you know, the bigger players out there, they have I think some constraints on them. It makes it tough to do things, to do the things that they want to do.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to be cognizant of your time, number one. I have a couple last questions to wrap up. Maybe more about some of the LinkedIn content you put in, but really just personal. This is a really challenging business. You show up every day. You have your hardships, you have your wins, your losses. How do you deal with the emotional, financial, and psychological challenges that come with building a CPG brand? And what insights can you share to persevere and push through?
I just cry a lot, dude.
Me too.
I cry a day and night, and that just basically, it works. I mean, so if anybody needs just a real, straight to the point answer, that's probably what it is. I am big on mental health, and I talk openly about that because I'm also cut differently. I have my own mental health issues that I've had for a very, very long time. And that doesn't make for a great combination when you are you're a founder. But I will tell you what has worked for me, and it's another reason, a big piece of my why and why I throw it out there. There are a lot of people like me, and there's a lot more people like me. They just don't talk about it, and I understand why, and I respect the why. But I found health and fitness 20-something years ago, and I have to subscribe to it every day. I have to make it a part of my daily routine, or else I'm very much off, and not in a good way. And so health, food, nutrition, combined with exercise is the platform and is the foundation to every single thing that I do. And it answers to what it is that you were talking about. How do I get through those different things? My wellness is okay. My head is on, and my feels are at balance. And we've got to be able to get there somehow. And I preach nutrition and fitness as being that thing that takes you there.
Which is, by the way, why your brand is so powerful, because it's an extension of you. And that's, sometimes you see brands preaching and the brand doesn't tie. You literally are an extension of every product, and it's just so apparent and authentic, and it's powerful, man. So I appreciate you sharing that. I guess the last thing I'd ask is, do you guys have anything you'd like to announce or share, or anything that we should keep an eye out for as we continue watching, Iwon and what you guys are building?
We're growing. I mean, there's some cool stuff that we have that we'll announce soon. But this is, it's for you, dude.
Dude.
Dream Pops on fire. Yeah, we're doing our thing, dude. So follow along, and I hope it's for people who are looking for something to help them. And so follow along. There's some cool announcements happening. But dude, I'm impressed with what you're doing. Let's talk Dream Pops.
I appreciate that. We're gonna do that on your interview when we do it.
We're gonna get. I'm gonna come in with fire on that one, dude. I'm ready. I got no questions, so it's gonna get very weird, very fast.
I love it, Mark. Thank you for taking time on this Friday, man. Guys, check out Iwon Organics. Incredible founder and story. Thanks again for your time, man.
Peace, brother.
Later, man.